Good morning.
Good morning.
How was y'all's fall break? Get that? Your fall break? How did you enjoy your extra day at least?
Good.
I did. It was a great and glorious day. Say what?
I'm loving this weather right now.
I know, it actually feels like fall. Imagine that. Imagine that. So, no, you're good. No, I didn't have anything to hand out. Do you have anything to give me though? All right. So, you notice anything different today? I don't.
I'm wearing puppies.
Yeah, I am comfortable. I'd be more comfortable if I could wear flip-flops instead of these boots, but it was cold. So, I want to keep my footsies warm. So, yep, I'm comfortable. What else? Anything else?
Your hair's down. It's never been down in our class. Ever.
Has it not?
No. You've either had braids or a bun.
It was one.
I'm pretty observant too. Listen, you've either had braids or a bun.
I got videos that to prove that it's been working.
No, it's never had.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I need to do a better job making you a sociologist. Observe.
No, you've never worn it down.
You've just never
It's
done
either
it.
been in braids or a bun. Well,
All right.
I've missed one
That-
class, so.
Anything else?
You don't wear makeup.
Yep, somebody said that. Anything else?
You have Bahama stuff, so you must have gone on vacation.
Yes. Well, over the summer work at braids. Why am I dressed like this today?
Because it's cold.
Because you got no sleep. I was cold.
Yeah, it's actually not because I didn't get any sleep. Since I didn't get any sleep, I had plenty of time to put makeup on. My hair's fixed because it was fixed yesterday. That's normally it would just be up in a bun.
Okay.
Wait, I woke up late.
So you didn't
I didn't even go to sleep. I never fell asleep, so how do I
Oh,
wake up late?
I thought you were saying that you did.
You were here all
That's
night.
what I-
No, I was not here all night, thank God. Nope. It's not because I didn't get any sleep, which I didn't get any sleep. Because what? It's Monday? Nope. Exactly. You thought that whenever I walked into the criminal justice class. You said you made a comment.
Yeah, I was like, I feel that, because I thought you were wearing it because it was Monday, but.
Uh-huh. See? So here's the thing. Did she react based on my appearance? Would she have said, do you think you'd said that if I was dressed in my normal suit? Probably not. So that leads us to our next chapter, which is chapter 4, Society and Social Interaction. Now you notice it's not on that first slide, because we're going to start with Irving Goffman first. I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time. We're going to talk about, I'm going to introduce you to a new guy. We got Irving Goffman, and he is most famous for a lot of things in sociology, but he is most famous perhaps for his work on something called the presentation of self. So before I start talking about him, in this chapter, we're concerned with social interaction. I mean, it's in the name of the chapter, okay? Social interaction, the process by which people act and react in relation to others, and how that reality is socially constructed. Okay? So, what I'm writing up from before is just right there next to that slide. So you don't need All right, so the process by which people act and react in relation to others, and how that reality is socially constructed. about George Herbert Mead. His quote, "Society exists only in the mind." Since we have the ability to have language and all of those, the ability to walk upright, culture, customs, rules, norms, blah, blah, blah. Because we can do that, we interact with each other. And we've already talked about miscommunications and those sorts of things. So people act, we're going to look at Goffman in just a second, act and react in relation to others. That can include their appearance. It can include their gender. Remember you told me last class, or one of those classes last week, that you don't know how to act around people if you don't know if it's a man or a woman, right? Okay? So we tend to act differently depending on if it's a man or a woman. How many of you know people who change their tone of voice depending on if they're talking to a man or a woman? You ever know girls that talk to their boyfriends like this? Well, they don't normally speak that way. They get all, I would say googly-eyed, but that's not googly-eyed, like googly voiced. I don't know. I just made that up. But you know what I'm talking about? Because they're so happy and so in love. Or the guys are like starts talking super manly around her, So, we act and react to people. Did I already say the way that they're dressed? Please forgive me because I really did not get any sleep at all last night. I have no idea why, but I couldn't fall asleep. Let's see, what else can you come up with that we act and react based off of? The way people talk to us, maybe? Or their tone of voice? If somebody gets all angry with you, how are you going to react to them?
Get angry back.
Some people might. Is everybody going to get angry back though? No? Are some people passive? Just kind of just take it because they're non-confrontational. They don't want to deal with it. There's all kinds of different reasons. Okay. Well, with Goffman and the presentation of self, the basic idea is he's explaining human social life. Is analogous to that of life on a stage, in a theater. I don't know if I spelled analogous right, but it's close enough. In other words, he's saying we are always putting on a performance, and he calls this performance impression management. Impression management means exactly how it sounds. You are trying to manage the way people perceive you. We already said, let's see, so, what kind of pieces do you have in a theater? Where are all the pieces that you have? You got actors, right? So he says, we're all actors on a stage. All humans, we're all actors on a stage. You got actors. What else do you have? You have an audience. What else?
Props.
Very good. Props. What else? And a dress up in character, yes? So, costume? Very good. Costumes, what else?
Keep them backstage.
Very good. Okay, so you have, somebody said you have the backstage. So if you have a backstage, you, by default, you have a front stage. Very good. Okay, well, if there's actors and they're acting, what do they have to, what are they doing? They're I heard it, who said it? You got a script. Things that you were supposed to say. Okay. So he says that we are all actors on a stage, complete with an audience, props, costumes, backstage, front stage, scripts. All right, so you tell me. He's saying we're all actors and there's an audience. So I'm acting right now. I'm giving a performance in front of you all. So you all are my audience. But are you all actors too? Because
Yes.
you are acting as students. So who's your audience?
You.
Me. And perhaps maybe even your classmates as well. Okay? And you know, think about it, okay? What do students generally wear? What are their costumes? T-shirts, casual wear. Yeah, hopefully somebody's got pants on somewhere. Shorts, pants, skirt, something. Okay. So yeah, some sort of casual dress. All right. Let's see. What are your props? As a student, backpacks, computers, laptops.
Yes.
What else? Energy drinks. Y'all need some energy drinks. Good Lord. I didn't even get any sleep and I'm chipper than you all are. What else? What are your other props? Come on now.
Your desk.
Desk.
Chair. Pencil.
Pens, pencils, paper. You got it. Say what? Notebook. All of the above. Say what?
A brain?
Yeah, yes. That's very, very good. Very good. I'll give you an air high five. Woo. All right. What are my props as a
The
professor?
board.
The board, yes.
Marker.
Markers.
Your voice.
My voice, very good. Tone of voice. Okay. Okay. Language delivery, so tone of voice. What else? What are my other props?
Podium.
The podium, very good. What else? Computer. What's that? The projector. What's on the projector? PowerPoints. My magic thumb drive holds all of the glorious PowerPoints and a million thousand other things. Okay. What else are my props?
Markers.
Somebody already said markers. Did you say pens?
No, markers that you
Somebody already said
don't.
markers.
Is that?
That's all right.
Your video camera.
Yes. Hey, everybody wave the video camera. Hey. All right. What else?
Hey, you're close.
Okay, but that technically falls here. Costumes. I'm always seen walking down the hall with about a billion things, felt like I'm about to tip over. Okay, so my bag, my folders, my papers, you know, clips. I got all kinds of different things. Okay, these are my props as a professor. Do I carry this stuff around all the time? No. I don't carry it when I go out on a date. I don't bring my teacher stuff on a date.
You could.
I could. I don't bring my video camera on a date, but I could. Not gonna. See, that one kept. All right, so speaking of costumes, so y'all, we already talked about student costumes. What is my normal costume?
High heels.
Yes. High heels.
You've never worn the same pair.
No, of course not. That's just so tacky.
Shoot.
I'm kidding. It's not tacky.
How many pair of shoes do you have?
I don't know about. No, I'm not even gonna guess. Anybody can guess the number closest?
78. I mean, I have like 20,
I would
so.
say 40-ish.
That's not enough.
No.
78's too low.
At least 120.
You have a pair for every single day?
140.
Probably,
You have a whole
probably
house
close,
just
probably
all your
upwards
shoes?
of 200 pairs.
Holy.
Jesus.
But in my defense, I have been collecting those since I was about 18 years old. So it's not like I bought all of them, all in one day, had an Amazon day, woo, or a DSW day, whatever. Okay. So high heels. What am I normally wearing?
Slacks.
Suit.
Slacks. What's that?
Your pantsuit.
Like a suit, pantsuit, skirt, suit.
Makeup.
Makeup. Okay, that's also part of your costume. Makeup. Okay. My jewelry. Okay. I only have this one day because I gotta have it so I know when the hell it's time to go or get to class or one or the other or both. Anything else? I think that's about it. Why do I normally dress that way?
What's expected of you.
Okay, it's professional, so look at this down here, impression management. My goal is to control the way people perceive me, okay? If I came in here dressed like this on the first day, what kind of impression would that have given? Be honest.
That'll be lit.
That would be lit.
Should be like, okay.
That was lit, fam.
Oh.
I know youngster stuff. What'd you say?
Most of us would just been like, okay, and then at first we'd be like,
I like the face.
No, I feel
Like-
like this is the coolest professor.
yeah.
This is a cool, oh sweet, I could just wear like crap every day, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
I mean, technically I can, there really is no dress code, there's nothing that says I have to wear suits, or that I have to wear heels, or that I have to wear makeup, or any of that stuff. So why do I do it?
So you don't look like a student?
So I don't look like a student, because right now I look like a student. And did I tell you that's what I used to do on my first day of class? That I would come in kind of like this and, violate someone's personal space, or, tell somebody, this is my seat, I have to sit there. Just watch their reaction, because it's fun. 'Cause- So, anyway, to look professional so I don't look like a student, to kind of have some sort of differentiation between professor and student. I don't have to have that, but what's the importance behind it? What's the importance behind having that distinction? Anybody?
Do you authority?
There you go. Sets me apart. It kind of sets the tone. Okay. Yes, I do enjoy dressing up. Yes, I do enjoy wearing heels and makeup and all that stuff. But I also do it for a variety of reasons. Remember, did I tell you when I first started teaching how old I was? I think that might have been the other class. Whenever we were giving interesting facts. I started teaching when I was 24 years old. College. So you think a 24-year-old walk into a college classroom and expect to be listened to? There are things that she or he has to do at that age, and probably even more so for a woman than a man, because of the way that we perceive men and women. Men, on average, are automatically given respect when they walk into a room. Women, on the other hand, usually have to work a lot harder for it. They have to earn it. Okay? So, we'll talk more about gender stuff later. Okay? Along with the costume and the scripts, or costumes come with scripts. Yes, there's certain things I have to teach, and so forth and so on, but I also have certain rules, which are part of the scripts. And there's also a way that I address you in class. And that's a way of setting the tone, to control that impression, okay? So walking into a college classroom, 100 students, no lie, that was my first class, 100 students, It was literally like on a stage. It actually had a stage and an auditorium full of 100 people and an actual step and a big podium, so forth. Okay? Think I was a little nervous? Scared? I thought I was gonna die that day. It was terrifying, but I did it. But there's things that you do to control the way people perceive you, the way you dress, the way you speak, the rules and stuff that you set. Is there a reason why I have all the rules that I do? Is it because I just like being a bitch? Like, that's what some people assume, but she's just a bitch. No. Why are those rules in place?
To prepare us.
Very good. Number one, to prepare you, but also number two, so that I don't get walked all over. Say what?
I was gonna say taking advantage.
Taken advantage of, absolutely. Because that's the thing with women. We'll talk about different statuses here in just a second. You know, any student's going to look at, a very young professor and think, oh, I can pull a fast one over her. She doesn't know any better. She doesn't know any different. I can ask her to take my late work and she'll do it. And so there's a reason I have all of those things. So it's, yes, to prepare you, which is first and foremost, but also to help kind of manage that impression of myself. So with all of that said, you got costumes. Now we have costumes for different situations. That's the thing. Look over here. This is, we're always putting on a performance. You are not always a student. Okay? Sometimes you are just lovely old you, or maybe, I don't know, some of y'all probably too young, but bar, maybe go to the beach or whatever. So are there certain things you wear in certain situations?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So would it be appropriate to show up in your bikini or your swimming trunks, guys, at church? No, what do you wear to church? What kind of dresses? The ones you wear to the club or? Yeah, did you say maybe some people? What was that? Did you say sweat like a whore in church?
Yeah, my parents use that analogy all the time.
Okay.
They talk about like other people.
That sounds very Christian-like.
I'm agnostic, so I don't.
Alright. Or, wearing your Sunday best at the beach, does that really make, I guess some people might, no. So it's the idea. And you talk about, you have scripts. You talk about different things with different people. So you have scripts depending on the situation. Let's see here. We're going to talk about backstage and front stage. The backstage. I'll come back to that. There you go. Where all the support activities necessary for maintaining a performance on stage occur. Okay? The front stage. Where the place where the performance is given. Right now, this classroom is my front stage or backstage? It's my front stage. What's my backstage?
Office.
Office, or even maybe at home. Yeah? Okay? All the support activities taking place. Okay? Getting ready for work, putting on the makeup, putting on the suit, whatever, what have you. Now, here's the thing, is that, now, what about you as actors? Is this your front stage or your backstage? It's your front stage, because you are putting on a performance for me, right? Where's your backstage? Home? Okay? For some people, it might be, I don't know, they have those private rooms in the library we can go study and have some quiet space, because some people they maybe live with, they have their own family, or they still live with parents and have siblings, too loud, get in the way, you need some peace and quiet to do your studying, and so forth, okay? So you got your front stage and backstage. Let's see. Waiting tables. Anybody in here wait tables? Ever waited tables? Okay, so what's your front stage when you wait tables? Out on the floor, yes. And your backstage is
The kitchen.
the kitchen where you can go and curse them all out, kick the ice machine,
Talk bad about it.
talk bad about them, also very Christian-like. So it's a joke. I don't know your religion. So
I go to church.
you do.
I talk bad about people.
Let's see. So let's see. What are your costumes? Your uniform, the dreaded uniform. I don't know about y'all. Mine was dependent. They changed it every couple of years. One year was like black slacks and a white button-up and a long black apron. Black. It was always black shoes.
Where you working at?
It was at a Mexican restaurant called El Chico, back home in Texas.
We
My
just
favorite.
wear all black.
I'm sorry?
We just wear all black. Like
All black?
shirts, black belts, black pants, black socks, black shoes.
Okay, everything. Where do you work?
Out back.
I was gonna say, it sounds like Outback. The one here?
Yeah. I
Oh,
saw you once.
just recently?
Yeah, you're at the bar.
But, am I,
She was eating food.
and drinking wine. But you know what, I'm allowed to do that. So that's the thing, is that even in public, I was a very different, Shelby is the bartender, she's one of my students, okay? So what was that?
She's really nice.
Yes, she is. She's a great student too. So, you know, was I dressed like my normal professor self? You think?
No.
No? How was I dressed? Do you remember?
Like you were going on skating.
Yeah. Jeans, nice top, definitely heels. Going out in flats is, you know, just an abomination for me. Yeah. So, but that's still a front stage, yes? I'm still putting on a performance for who? Huh?
I said maybe whoever you're dating.
Oh, I wasn't on a date. I was out with my friends. They all had dates. Not me though. Or, you know, husbands, wives, whatever. So yeah, my props. We have my wine curls. My wine curls. That's right. Let's see. So yeah, I didn't realize that you worked there. You should have come and said hello.
I
Were you too
know.
scared?
I was super busy.
Okay. I'd rather you say too busy than
I
scared.
know.
I don't bite. Let's see. The classic example too. Somebody, you mentioned dating, or I think I mentioned dating earlier too. So when you're getting ready for like a first date, and I don't know if y'all are dating or not, or if you've been on first date, whatever. But the idea, if you're getting ready for a first date, notice I'm being very specific, not just any date, the first date. What's your backstage?
Your house.
Your house,
Your bathroom.
your bathroom, your closet, your bedroom, getting all purty or sexy. And why are you doing that? You're putting hopefully you're grooming yourself, and by that I'm talking about like being hygienic, so you don't stink. You actually haven't taken a shower, that's always nice, you know. You smell nice, cologne, look nice, or the ladies, perfume. So why do we do that? Why do we take extra special care of ourselves on a first date?
Because we gotta make a good first impression.
Exactly, we've got to make a good first impression. We got to trick those people into liking us. Got to get that hook in before they realize, what in the world did I get myself into? Why did I do this? Ah, you know? Okay. So what sorts of things do you do when you're getting ready for a first date? You tell me.
Brush your teeth.
Try to dress nice, and of course it depends on the location. If it's a casual date or if it's a fancy date. Okay. So we want to dress nice.
Brush your teeth.
Thank you. Yeah, very good. You want to brush your teeth.
You make sure your hair is looking right.
Make sure your hair is looking right. Mhm.
I'm not wearing a
You don't really act like yourself on the first day.
Okay. Now you bring up an interesting point. Okay. He says we are always putting on a performance. Always. So what that means is that we, to him, to Goffman, we have no real self. So let me explain that. It's tippy toe. I don't have my heels on today. sorry.
No, I'm upset.
Thank you. I'm so tired, I'm getting delirious. So, even when we are alone, because he says that we have multiple selves, not multiple personalities, not like the crazy, okay? Okay? So we have multiple selves depending on the situation. So you make an excellent point. No, we are not how we act when we're by ourselves when we're on that first date. Because when we're by ourselves, what do we tend to do when we're by ourselves? What are some of the, well, you don't really have to answer this, but think about some of the nasty habits you have that you do behind closed doors. Okay, maybe you pick your nose, scratch at your crotch, whatever disgusting things you may do.
Sadly, they do that.
Some might, but they call it adjusting. Guys, is that a thing? Is that a real thing? Whatever. What else do you do on getting ready for your first date? On your in the backstage?
Practice what you're gonna say.
Oh, nice. Practice what you're gonna say. Think about what kind of questions you're gonna ask. So that's talking about scripts, yes? All right. Then y'all just wing it.
Yes.
Fake it till you make it.
Try not to be as awkward as
Try not to be awkward. Y'all like first dates? Are they awkward or stages?
I love it.
They're awkward.
I guess if they're doing like the person.
Ah, very good. Depends on the
I mean,
person.
if you like been talking to them for a little bit, then it's a little better, but if you just like met them the other day, then it's.
Okay. But if you click and get along, don't you have a lot of things to talk about? It's
Yep.
not awkward. Yeah, but some people may just be kind of awkward anyway. I don't know. So let's say multiple selves for different situations. So do you talk to your parents about the same things that you do, like with maybe your friends?
No.
No,
Okay, why not? All you have to be kind of smile and shake your head. Why not?
It's just weird
It's weird. Why is it weird?
for your parents and.
So,
I would think I'm not working on it.
okay, so you're telling me that you tell your friends all your dirty deeds.
No.
Yeah, I don't mean like dirty, but like bad things that you've done or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. What else do you talk to your friends about? You talk to your friends about your parents? Okay. You maybe talk to your parents about your friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Does any of you in here talk about sex with your parents? You got
Yeah.
one?
My parents
One,
try to talk to
two,
me about it, but I'm like, no.
3? No, don't be shy. There's nothing wrong. And 4?
In 6th grade, my dad had to talk with me,
Uh-huh.
and it was super freaking awkward. Because we were just rolling down the road, and he was like, the windows were down. He's like, roll up the windows, we gotta talk about something. Alright, cool. And then I just looked down and said, I knew all this stuff, Dad, chill out.
How old were you?
6th grade.
6th grade. Oh yeah,
I rode with a guy.
Like 12.
I rode with the guy on the bus that taught me everything. So that's-
Oh god.
So you think that your 12-year-old friend knows more than
No,
that?
he was not 12, he was way older.
How, like 18? But you really think an 18-year-old knows
Can I
all
tell you a
this
funny
now?
story real quick? We have time?
Sure.
Okay, so
As
this
long as
guy,
it's appropriate.
can I cuss one time?
Yes.
This guy, he was horrible, and he was older than us, but there was this kid on our bus that sat in our seat, and this kid got on the bus with a Sharpie, and he looked at this guy and said, will you draw a smiley face on my forehead? And the guy said, sure, and he wrote fucker across his forehead. And the guy went up to the bus driver and said, look at my smiling face, and she thought he was being a smart aleck, and so he got suspended.
See, so you had a whole, they had a whole performance going on there. Because did that person know that that was there?
Not till
No,
later.
exactly. So when you look at that definition that you first wrote down, that we act and react based off of those sorts of symbols, signs, whatever, what have you.
So the guy that did that is the one that
There
told
you
me about
go.
everything.
So there's a reason that bus driver reacted that way because, does anybody really like to be called that name? So no wonder he got suspended. So we act and react based on the social situation that we are in. I don't know, is that just a random story that not having to do with how you
No, it has nothing to do with anything. I'm just telling you about the guy that gives
that
you
taught
context.
you,
Yeah.
that knew more than maybe your dad?
Or, I mean, my dad probably knew.
I'm
but
teasing you.
Grayson was a lot
That's the
bigger.
thing when we get to the sexuality chapter, we talk about reliable information. Most of us get our information about sex from our friends that are no more knowledgeable than we are, crap from the internet. Because it must be true if it's on the internet, anywhere, you know. And who knows, maybe your parents aren't that knowledgeable, but they're probably more knowledgeable than you are at that age. Things like that. So some of you in here did raise your hand. You said you did talk to your parents about that. It's because they had that healthy conversation with you and they made you feel comfortable.
No,
No?
it's because my mom's extremely young, so it's
Okay.
more friends than.
More friends than parent. Okay, so don't have that kind of those boundaries
No.
or things like that. Okay.
Oh, my parents are all about the boundaries.
Okay. Well, there's a purpose to that. They're supposed to be your parent, not your friend. Just like I'm a professor, I'm not your friend. I'm your professor. What else? What's your front stage when you're on a date? Wherever you decide to go. Out to eat, to a park, movie, whatever. Let's see, another classic example for this. Think about, you do behave differently in all kinds of situations, but think about the job interviews you've gone on. Do you have to make a certain impression on a job interview? Okay, so it depends on the job in terms of what you need to do. Okay. So if you were interviewing for an office job, what do you think you ought to wear?
A button down.
Okay, office-like clothing, so probably business attire, maybe business casual, probably some slacks, probably slacks, a button-up, maybe a tie, maybe a full-on suit. It just kind of depends. If you were going to interview for a stripper's job, what might you wear? Very good, nothing. But you may actually go in. Maybe you're not going to wear a suit, or maybe you do, and then you take it off. I don't know. Okay. The job interview. Hell if I know. I've never been a stripper. You can probably go down to the Pink Pony in Atlanta and ask them.
I don't want to ask.
Okay. But I imagine you, just like anywhere else, ask for an application. I don't know. And this is no judgment toward stripper. It's meant to give you an example. You're still trying to make an impression on your interview, depending on what that interview is. So you have certain costumes that you need to wear. You have certain things that you want to be able to say. You may have different props depending on what job you're applying for. Okay? Language delivery, all kinds of different stuff. Okay?
Do we need those
So-
definitions on the board?
Somebody want to answer that question?
Yeah, we do.
Hey now, be quiet. Okay? It's not up here just for fun. Okay? The reason it's up here, even though I pretty much already wrote it all on the board, this is the formal way of saying this. So another way of calling it the presentation of self is calling it dramaturgy or dramaturgical analysis. Okay? It makes sense if you think about life as analogous to the theater. Dramaturgy. Okay? So we've already talked about all of that stuff, the presentation of self. So on that first date, we want them to fall for us. The second date, we want us to keep falling, so forth and so on. Now, what happens after about 6 months to a year? Is there as much effort going into it?
No.
Probably not the same effort, but maybe still there's some effort going on. One would hope, because relationships take effort. And not just in terms of your appearance, but the way you behave. Okay? Your scripts, the things that you say to your partner. The actual actions, the things that you do for your partner. Okay? All of those things. Okay? But, there are some women who their X amount of time has to pass before they'll not wear makeup in front of their boyfriend or maybe girlfriend, lesbian couple. Okay? So just depends on like that level of comfort and so forth and so on. Let's see. So with that said, we're almost done with this. So he says the self is this part. So yourself is the product of that dramatic interaction. You have a different self the way you are with friends, or how you are with people if you go to church, for the people maybe you hang out with at the bar, how you interact with your professor, and you may interact differently with your professor depending on which professor it is, right? And same thing with your parents. You may have a different relationship with your parents. You might have one relationship with your mom where you can tell her everything, and then dad, you're just like, hey dad, or vice versa, where you can tell him anything and everything, or you don't tell him anything,
I tell one of them one thing and one of them the other.
That's true for a lot of people. Okay. What else? There's something else I was gonna say. Oh, so he says that even when you are by yourself at home, that is a different self. Okay? That's why he says you have no real self, because even the person that you are when you're by yourself is still a performance. You don't really have an audience per se. Maybe the mirror, maybe your pets, I don't know. But you still behave differently when you're by yourself than with anybody else. Now, you might have some friends that you act pretty similarly with as if you were by yourself. Even if you have friends that you're that close with that you could do most just about anything. Yeah, so it kind of depends. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. That. Also, notice, one thing I want to say is that the front stage and backstage are interchangeable, because once you all pack up and leave, what does this become for me? The backstage. Do I have to be professor whenever you're not in here? No. And then say if I'm by myself in my office, which you just told me earlier was my backstage, but what if a student comes into the office? It's the front stage, okay? I have to put on a performance for that student. I need to go into professor mode, so to speak. Okay? Does stuff make sense? I think it's kind of fun. It's been fun, honestly, watching people's reactions today. Usually, So, I don't know. This is the first time. Now, I've done this before, like wearing like the sweats and flip-flops or whatever, what have you, but I've never done the no makeup thing. But funny, when I walked into criminal justice, What is it you said again?
I said, I feel that, because I was like.
Yeah, you thought I was
I
having
thought
a
you were
bad
having-
case of the
I thought you were
Mondays.
having a crappy day as I was.
Nope, and I'm not. In fact, even with no sleep, I was still in a relatively good mood. I'm extremely tired, about to keel over, but it was just all an act. See, this is an act. It's all a performance. So, I am not my professor self outside of work. Anything else? All right, how are we doing? Doing good. Statuses and roles. Also with this chapter, when sociologists are studying interactions, they are essentially seeking to understand the larger social forces that affect and impact our interactions, like the customs and norms that dictate how we are supposed to interact with other people depending on their status. How you interact with somebody, if they are your professor, if they are your pastor or priest, if they are your parent, if they are your friend, all of those sorts of different things. Okay, so we're going to start talking about how our statuses and roles affect our interaction and the way that we treat each other. So we need to start with defining each one of these things. We'll start with status. Status. Okay. A status means a social position that a person holds. A position that a person holds, or a social position. So status is another way you can define that, is that it's who we are. Who we are. In this context, status has nothing to do with upper class, not at all. It just refers to the position that you hold in society. So things like your personal identity, are you a man or a woman? So we'll do, I'm a woman, okay, that's a status, okay. What other positions do I hold? What other statuses do I hold? Very good, okay. Professor, teacher, whichever one. Okay, what else? Think about, where you're from, your nationality, those sorts of things. Your age, your race. American. But more important, Lee, I'm a Texan. That's more important than status. Okay? White. Age. How old am I?
Young.
Well played. Who said that? Was that you, Fred? Ollie, well played. Air high five. Yes. Okay. So white. Let's see here. Pet owner. Not a parent. So for some of you, I think I know you've got kids, and anybody else? I know. Yep, one back there too. So one of your statuses would be a parent, a mother. Okay. You are also. I believe you're married. Yes. Okay. So you're a wife. That's also a status. Okay. Single. Let's see. Just for whenever, because you will have an assignment based off of this. So age can be one. Maybe you play sports. How many talents? We'll talk about that on the first day. I don't play any sports now, but work out, but that doesn't really count for anything. What else? Probably, you can use your social class. I would consider myself middle class now. As a child, we were probably considered the working poor. Okay. So statuses are part of our social identity, and they help to define our relationships with other people. Being a friend is a status. Okay, so I'm a friend to people. believe it or not, professors do have friends. We're not robots, we do have emotions. Okay. Can I think of anything else? Oh, your sexual orientation could be one, if you wanted to talk about that. So, straight, heterosexual, all right. So the next one you should see if there's status set. It refers to all of these taken together. And this is obviously not an exhaustive list, okay? Another one could be, I am a daughter, by default I'm a woman, so I'm a daughter, okay? I have a sister, I'm a woman, so I'm a sister, I'm also an aunt. I'm also a great aunt because my niece has a child. Okay, so I may not be a parent, but I have those things going. But that's your status set, is all of your statuses as you hold all together. Cousin, college graduate. Okay, so for you, you've not graduated yet, but so therefore for you, it would be you're a college student. Sociologist, criminologist, for me. But if you say you're a football player, you can put that, a wrestler, a dancer, whatever, what have you, you can put that. And then the master status is the one that you identify with the most. Okay? What is it that you are on your list? So on your list, you're going to make your own list. So take one and pass it back. And you're not going to necessarily do this right now. It is your take-home assignment that's due on Wednesday. By the way, the quiz, I forgot to announce this earlier, the quiz, I changed it to give you a little extra time. It will open tomorrow on Tuesday, and you'll have until Wednesday to take it, but it will not cover anything that we're covering in chapter 4. It's still over just chapters 3 and 5. I just wanted to give you a little extra time and fall break, and hopefully as you, in case you forgot, just give me a little extra time. Okay? So, oh, go ahead.
So the status set would be like this.
Yes, ma'am. Correct. So, the definition of status is simply a social position that a person holds. Statuses are who we are. So when we get to roles, roles are what we do. Roles are what you do attached to a status. Okay? So this is your status set, all of them taken together. So, for me, if I'm just looking, basing off this list, the most important one for me right now, this is what I identify with the most, being a professor. For those of you that have kids, it might be the fact that you are a parent. So for the moms, your master status might be a mom. You never know. For some of you, it may be a student. For some of you that care for your siblings, some of yours might be sister or brother, you know. It's totally up to you. So on your assignment, when I tell you to tell me which one is your master status, what's the one you identify with the most, it's totally up to you. All right, so moving forward. Ascribed status. Ascribed status is a result from chance, that it is involuntary. Happens by chance. In other words, you could describe it as something that you are born with. In other words, that you have no control over. Okay. On the other hand, you have the achieved. I don't know. Does anybody see my clicker? What do I do with it? I cannot find it. I don't know. Anyway, achieved status. Okay. Acquired through some some combination of choice. Personal effort and ability. That it is voluntary. You have an element of control over your achieved statuses. So, with those definitions in hand, we can look at this over here. Which ones are ascribed? I heard, which one? Woman? Okay. I'm gonna do check marks for ascribed. What else? What else did I not have control over?
American.
Okay, I didn't have any control over where I was born.
Why?
I didn't have any control over the race.
Age.
Age, yep, don't have any control over my age, although I lie about it all the time. What else? Daughter,
All those things.
I didn't have a choice in being a sister. My sister existed before I did.
Aunt, great aunt.
Yep, didn't have control over that. Okay,
Takes it.
very good. Okay, ooh, that one's a tricky one.
I was wanting to say it, but it's already.
It really, Rory, it depends on your perspective. So there is no right or wrong answer on your assignment because people have different perspectives. Some people would say that my heterosexual status is ascribed. I was born that way. I had no control over it. Some people say it's a choice. So if you say if it's ascribed, it'll be correct on your assignment. If you say it's achieved, because it's based on your perspective, not mine. So that one's a tricky one. Depends on perspective. All right.
What about, I mean, not middle class, because that's for you, but, my family is middle class, I have no
Yes.
choice over that.
Absolutely. So here's the thing, is social class ascribed, it's an ascribed status as a child, because the children have any control over their family and their money? No. But what about as you grow older into, say, an adult? Can it still be ascribed? Can be, but generally, as we grow up, the idea is that you do have some sort of choice, effort, ability. Okay. So for some of you, your social class right now as college students, it might be ascribed because you have no control over that. You're also college students, so I'm guessing you probably don't have great paying jobs. Okay. Some of you may have decent paying jobs. So your answer for this one is going to depend on where you are right now. Does that make sense? Okay. What are my achieved statuses? Over here. What's that?
Professor.
Professor. Okay?
That, okay.
Yes, I choose to have my fur babies. I put depends up there because it depends on your perspective when you're answering this. You might be single by choice. You might be in a relationship by choice. Okay? Or you may want to be in one and you're not. So than that, it would be an ascribed status. Does that make sense? Okay. This one, college grad. Okay. And friend. I choose to have friends. What are we doing? Still don't know where my cursor is. All right. Now the reason, let's see, that we are talking about this is that ascribed statuses can also play a role in achieved statuses, and they can also affect, all of these statuses affect essentially how we interact with people and how our realities as a social are constructed through that interaction. Okay? So, I got one for you. I'm not married or widowed or anything like that, but let's say that I was a widow. Is that an ascribed or an achieved status?
Scribe.
You hope that it's ascribed. Get it?
Yes. Yeah. Could have killed her.
I could have. For his insurance. Live a nice life without his ass. Just teasing. Okay? So, if she was a murderess, got some more to say about this. All right. So, let's see here. Ascribed statuses, achieved statuses. Start with a woman. How can woman affect my achieved statuses?
Don't get paid to sing.
Very good. So, not only pay difference, but my ascribed status as a woman affect the type of job that I might go into, or career I may go into. Okay? So, that's where we kind of look at these slides right here. And we look at the percentage of women in selected occupations. It's not an accident that most of them, starting with secretaries, dental hygienists, all the way down, starts to get to be about equal when you get to high school teachers. But all of these, primarily women, predominantly women, nurses, secretaries. When's the last time you saw a guy as a secretary? Anybody? Anybody? They exist, it's very rare, okay? It's no accident that 98% of pilots are men. 97% are men. Because what do we do in this, we talked about this in the socialization section, how do we treat boys and girls differently as they grow up?
Boys are tougher and girls
Okay.
are headed on.
Like, get up, or, you know, we talk about that.
But also in terms of what are they pushed into? Like, yeah, in terms of the what toys?
Right.
Okay, very good. What kind of toys are girls given? Dolls, and it's just to prepare them for what? Motherhood, and what other kind of toys are girls given?
Like cooking sets.
Yes, cooking sets, to prepare them to be able to cook. Which is interesting considering there are more male chefs in terms of occupation than there are female chefs. But given those cooking things, because that's what you're supposed to be doing in the household, what do we tell boys and girls differently about, you know, what they're supposed to be good at, like in terms of subjects in school? It's a lot better now, but think about,
Girls are better at language.
Math. Guys should be better at math and science.
yeah, we have those stereotypical beliefs that somehow men's brains are naturally wired to be better at math and science. And so therefore we kind of push those beliefs onto our boys and our girls, and so therefore girls are more likely to develop low self-esteem when it comes to math and science and think that they can't do it when in actuality they can do it. Okay? That's one reason why we actually see more men in the math and science fields, and even today in the engineering Where is that? Is engineering up there? No? I don't think it is. Okay. So, all right, we got that one covered. What else? What about this one? How does that describe status affect me and my achieved statuses? Privileged. Okay, how am I privileged as a white person? You're correct, but how?
You get more opportunities to promote.
Okay. And the way we word that generally is given the benefit of the doubt. Given the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We are given the benefit of the doubt that we know in school, that we know what we're talking about, that we're better at assignments. We have these inherent biases. They're called your unconscious biases. When we think, oh, I'm not racist. We all have unconscious biases. And that's why one reason teachers and professors, when they grade stuff, are supposed to have, they're not supposed to, but it helps to have a grading rubric so that makes sure that everyone is graded fairly no matter their gender, their race, their nationality, or any of those things. Okay? I don't have a rubric for you, but you can all, I have it in my head, so your last assignment, each question was worth 4 points. Okay? So if you missed, let's see, the sleep study part was minus 1.5. If you missed the other part, the psychological age test was minus 1.5. I have that in my head so that everyone is rated the same no matter who is. Okay? Because you have to control for those even unconscious biases.